How the acceleration is. Yeah, you know what? It's not bad. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the all-new 2023 Hyundai Elantra. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Murdoch Hyundai here in Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this Elantra. This one is available for sale for the time being, so if you're interested, I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. Definitely check them out. And then on a side note, if you want to save time, money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an IVT transmission, intelligent variable transmission. Fuel economy is 30 around town and then 40 on the highway, with power outputs being 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention that if you're not subscribed already, I'd recommend subscribing if you want to see more content just like this. I post reviews every single day on a variety of different cars, and so yeah, hit that subscribe button. But let's go over the front end. So you guys can see we've got these really distinctive lines there in the center of the hood, and then coming down below, you've got this really cool daytime running light that kind of goes into like the other portion of the lights. It's very interesting. And then we do have halogen headlights, and then look at the turn signal indicator. It's like right there off to the side. It's kind of hidden. And then I love the design here on the grille. It looks really cool. Obviously got the big Hyundai logo, and overall I think it's a pretty cool looking car. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 225, 45, 17 in the front and in the rear as well. And sorry about the camera freaking out there, but anyways, you guys can see the silver there on top of the wheel, and then notice how it's kind of dark below that, and the wheels kind of look interesting. It almost looks like sword points going to the center. I don't know, it's definitely different. And then I love the distinctive body line there for the fender, and then look at the bodywork here on the side. It's definitely crazy. It's one of the things that's cool about the Elantra. But anyways, there's your full side view. Let me know what you guys think about the looks. So here's our key fob for the Elantra. You've got the lock function, the unlock function, remote start, and then the opening for the trunk, and then the alarm as well, and the Hyundai logo there on the back. So if we hold this down for a little bit, notice it'll kind of, well, partially pop open, and then you just lift it up, and then it'll pop all the way open. And then here's the storage space in the back. Pretty solid. And then notice we got these tabs right here that you can pull to lower down the seats, and we actually have a cargo net as well. And for being such a small car, it actually it's very practical from a storage space perspective. When you're all done, just pop that down. Now let's finish things up with the rest of the rear. So first off, we've got the Elantra light bar, which is pretty interesting. Of course, we got our regular Elantra and Hyundai logo there in the center. And then this is just to pop the trunk, if you guys are wondering. And again, there's lots of like sharp lines for a lot of the bodywork. It's very unique, but there's the rear. Now here's the door panel in the back. You guys can see we've got really nice padding here at the top, and then down below, it's actually hard touch, which is interesting that they'd put padding there but not there. I don't know about that. But anyways, here are the seats. I love the design there in the center. That is definitely cool. But popping in, whew, here's the legroom. There's my messy face in the headroom, and there's not a lot happening back here. We have those cool stripes on the seats, but that's about it. Let's head to the front. So here is the front door panel. You guys can see with the padding and the stitching that goes throughout. It's kind of got like a wavy design to it. And again, I think it's interesting that, well, this is actually more padded than the rear. I was gonna say it's interesting that that's not as padded, but it actually is. Anyways, all of our window controls here with our mirror adjustments. And there's a quick look at the mirrors themselves. Looks like they got blind spot monitoring. And then here are the front seats. These things look really cool. Look at the design there in the center. And then down below, you guys can see the bolsters. Seats are manually adjustable. And then we've got like our trunk release, gas cap release, pretty standard stuff. And then here's a quick look at the pedal layout. And then notice with our lane departure there, stability control. And then steering wheel is manually adjustable. Let's pop in. So here's the steering wheel for the Elantra. You guys can see the padding all around, and then notice the contrasted stitching there in the center portion. And then we got practical stuff like our voice command controls, volume controls, phone controls as well. And you can see controls here for the center stack. This does have adaptive cruise control and steering assistance actually. And then you guys can see with the turn signal, light stock, windshield wiper stock, and well, there's the steering wheel. So here's the center gauge cluster. Sorry about the glare, it's just kind of the time of day that it is, but we can scroll through some different menus to see different bits of info here on the Elantra. But the big party trick is we do have some different drive modes. So notice we have our sports mode, we got smart, and then normal. And I love the sport though, because it's like a cool graphic, but there's a center. So here's the center infotainment screen. First off, if we pop it into reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. And the resolution is actually pretty solid. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment screen, I love how it's connected to like the gauge cluster. It's like all one screen situation. But response time overall is actually really solid. It's easy to use. You can pair your phone to it. Not much else to go over. It's an infotainment screen, guys. Got a bunch of analog controls down below for the whole radio setup, and then you guys can see here for the dual zone climate controls, heated seats here for the front, and then we got like our wireless phone charging pad, and then we got some more charging ports right there. Shifter for that IVT, and then our drive mode select, that's just for the camera to pop it on if you want, and then a parking brake, auto hold, and then we've got a couple cup holders right here, and center console. Pretty cool. I love this with the vent design. Yeah, really good job there. That's pretty cool. Pretty normal glove box. And popping up top, then you guys can see here with the headliner, and we got a manual mirror dimmer. So here's our window sticker for this 2023 Elantra SEL. 5-year, 60,000 mile new vehicle warranty, 10-year, 100,000 mile on the powertrain. And notice that pretty much everything is standard with a base price of $21,750. Now this does have a $1,900 convenience package added to it, and then some other options. Total MSRP, $24,980. That is so surprising. Like with how many features this has, that's pretty cool. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, and throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. Setting off in the Elantra SEL, and this is probably like the average package for the Elantra, right? It's kind of like your, you know, not quite base model, but close to base model, at least in terms of pricing. But then you have some options to kind of, you know, spruce things up a bit. And I'm seriously impressed. Like, it's crazy that, you know, for a quote-unquote base model car, this has as much safety tech as it has creature comforts, like dual zone climate, heated seats. Like, you just don't expect that, especially at the price point this is at. Hyundai definitely coming in with the value plays with their vehicles. But from a driving perspective, it's actually really comfortable. Suspension's solid. Now, I am driving this back-to-back of the Sonata, so I will say that Sonata definitely drives a little bit better, but I mean, that's a much more expensive car, a little bit longer wheelbase, right? So it's gonna be smoother, but this is still a comfortable car. Like, this would be fine to commute with. It's pretty quiet. You hear a little bit of tire noise. It's crazy that, like, you have this, and then you have the Elantra N, which is like a full-on race car, basically, and it's the same car. This is the cool thing about some of these quote-unquote economy cars, is you always have these different versions, which is fun. Yeah, and you know, honestly, this IVT is pretty good. It's not obnoxious at all. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. Continuing along, I am now in the sport mode here with the Elantra SEL. And yeah, even over this bumpy road, it actually does a pretty good job from a suspension standpoint. You can go first. Come on. Ah, thanks, Ford. See how the acceleration is. Yeah, you know what? It's not bad. I wouldn't call this, you know, quick by any means, but it's not bad at all. This actually drives really well. I love the handling too. The steering actually kind of weights up a little bit. You know, for like a commuter car, this is pretty rock solid, honestly. I'm impressed with how far Hyundai's come. So, exterior wise, I like that looks the new Elantra. Now, obviously, you know, the Elantra N's the coolest one, but you know, that's hard to get and it's pretty expensive for an Elantra, right? From an interior perspective, you know, there are some points that you can tell like economy car, but then there are other points like the shifter, for example, some of these buttons that, like, you know, kind of make this feel more upscale, and like the buttons in the steering wheel too. It's pretty impressive. And then from a driving perspective, I mean, it's solid. Like, I'm trying to think, like, okay, you got Honda Civic, you got Toyota Corolla. Yeah, I think I'd get this over those. My reasoning is, you know, value-wise, like all the options and features you're getting, and just how upscale this feels compared to the price. So I feel like this is the best value in the segment right now. So if I was looking for a commuter car, I think it'd be the Elantra. That's just something's up with our video on this Elantra SEL. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Murdoch Hyundai here in Linden, Utah for giving me some time with this Elantra. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you guys.